Sometimes dark history and folklore come together in the most absurd ways. Pull up a chair and let's talk about Spring Heeled Jack. Our story begins in London in the winter of 1837 to 1838, and a strange figure has begun to surface in testimony and print. This figure has begun to accost Londoners in the streets and in their homes, showing up on doorsteps or dropping down from the roof. And after a violent or inappropriate tussle, he would just leap away, literally bouncing over rooftops, which earned him the nickname Spring Heeled Jack in the press. But reports of this absurd figure just didn't stop coming in. He was all over the city. It should be noted that most of Spring Heeled Jack's victims were women, particularly young women, and their families were rightfully as furious as they were afraid. The Lord Mayor of London, Sir John Cowan, is being flooded with anonymous complaints. One of these, coming from a resident of Peckham, warned about women being attacked in their homes, in the street, whenever they would go to church, or whenever they were walking alone. And this resident even went so far as to posit that perhaps it was a nobleman in disguise out terrorizing women for sport. In any case, the people of London were freaking out, and it was getting worse. A servant named Mary Stevens would report being grabbed and accosted on the street. The next day, a leaping attacker would accost a carriage not far from Mary's home, and then vaulting a high wall in one leap to escape. On February 19th, 1838, Jane Alsop answers the door, and it's a man who asks for a light, saying that he's a constable who's just caught Spring Heeled Jack in the lane. When she brings a candle, he throws off his cloak, blazing eyes like red balls, then claws at her neck and arms with steel claws. Newspapers would cover this as the outrage at the ford, and many dozens of stories like this would pop up over the next 20 years. Descriptions of him vary, but mainly they say that he was wearing a very tight black suit, a black cloak, he had fiery breath, and the ability to leap a wall in one go. And crazy theories would pop up for decades trying to explain who this guy was, ranging from an average chimney sweep to the Marquess of Waterford. In any case, the tales of Spring Heeled Jack refused to die, and they even moved out of London and into the provinces. At Aldershot Barracks, a silent prowler breaks in and starts slapping the cheeks of the sleeping sentries. Meanwhile, Penny Dreadfuls start taking a turn at the story, turning Jack into a melodramatic avenger or a caped crusader, seen all the way through 1904. So the question is, was it just a single guy, or was it multiple guys out doing this for fun? We'll never know. But what we can say for sure is that Spring Heeled Jack went from being a caped prowler bent on general mischief and assault to a famed avenger who might have even inspired Batman. Whatever you think about Spring Heeled Jack, he has the habit of turning up when you least expect him.